Hi guys, welcome back to the Scrapyard. I'm your host, Nathan Mulepolder, here with Taylor.
Hey.
And Xavier.
This one will be edited.
It's finally the return of your favorite pastime, Capture Point. If you don't know how that works because you've only seen it one time, these two will be deciding their predictions for the Stage 2 playoffs. So, second round of this, we are going to do a more holistic thing because obviously if one person picks a team over the other, then we won't know, how to do that. That wouldn't make sense for the way of the game. But for the first round of the playoffs, what we will be doing is that I'll call out the match. They will then write on their handy-dandy boards right here who they think will win that match. Who they think will win that match. They will then reveal, and they will also be saying, of course, how they think it will be a 4-0, a weird tie. And if it's in disagreement, they will then argue. They will both be given 30 seconds, and I will decide if any of them have deserved to earn a point, which will be based on them, very, very well pushing their agenda. And if they do something very odd or contradict themselves, they will lose a point. Then at the end, I will tally the points and decide who has captured it. Next week, we will be telling you who held the point.
You come from a land down under.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call back. Anyways, first game, Shock versus the Dragons. Oh, I'm so shocked. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Shock.
Moving on.
This is like the Shanghai had a close match the first time. It was like the first match, but the Shock have studied the computers, have analyzed the data, and they're gonna go in there and probably spawn camp.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now then. Aww. If that happens in playoffs, that's sad.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Oof.
No, next game, Titans versus the Fuel. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Titans 4-0.
Second
Titans
verse,
4-0.
same as the first.
Yeah, the Titans are still the best team, and the Fuel haven't shown the ability to really topple the great teams.
It's cool that Fuel made it into the
No,
playoffs.
it's nice.
It's a good
nice.
thing. It's just they're not going to beat.
Yeah, no, it's gonna
Titans.
be a rough day for the lower seeds.
Definitely. Now then, Gladiators versus the New York Excelsior.
Pick carefully. Pick wisely.
I feel so attacked this episode.
Hey, that was a fair assumption.
Yeah, Taylor acting like she was like, oh, Atlanta.
I said Atlanta 3-2.
There's no proof of that. Anyways,
Yeah,
3,
it's
2,
never
1,
happened.
reveal.
New York 3. I have New York 3-1.
I have Gladiators 3-1.
Okay, we will go to debates. Xavier, you can go first.
I feel like a broken clock saying this.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
But do you really think the New York Excelsior... You know what?
New York Excelsior.
I can't... it's written on the board. I can't
New York
change my
Excelsior
prediction.
lost their first seed against Seoul
Yeah,
Dynasty.
I was thinking about the playoff choking.
Yeah.
But also, what if the Gladiators really shown that they're going to stack up against New York Excelsior?
I like to think
Like,
that
what have they shown?
I like to think that somebody on the Gladiators team is over here like, hey, Atlanta, how did y'all do it? Like, they're on the phone with them.
I've underrated the Gladiators all stage, and
You have.
I will admit that.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I like the Gladiators, but I don't want to cut into your
but-
time. I mean, we already ran over
Yeah,
it.
it's fine.
But my thing is, like, Atlanta's a pretty decent team,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the Gladiators are in that same window. And I don't know if I think the Reign or the Gladiators are better.
See, with the Gladiators,
I-
to actually kind of like say something of substance, when you look at the Gladiators, their first loss this stage, we're gonna get sued. Their first loss this stage, a big part of that. Now, if we look at this, I mean, it did go 3-1 to the Gladiators. Boston beat them. If you looked at that game, look at how overtime transpired.
Uh-huh.
Boston was not the better team in that game. I don't believe so. A lot of people don't believe so. If you look at overtime, the Gladiators just found a way to choke and choke and choke. And while the New York Excelsior did get wrecked by the Atlanta Reign, it still went 5 maps, and the
It
New York
did.
Excelsior are a tight enough team where they don't choke in those overtimes.
Moving to Taylor.
I think
Give you a little
I
extra
think
time.
my issue is like Gladiators is scrappy. We've talked about this before. Gladiators is a really scrappy team. I just think New York has these moments when they I think New York just has these moments where they just don't finish fights. It's like the Gladiators
literally just did.
I know.
Boston.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. I think the Gladiators are going to do the same thing that Seoul did. They'll just come in and be like, "Wow, I think New York just isn't mentally ready." Like, they come out and they're amazing. We got, Jonak, we have all these amazing players, but I feel like Gladiators has just rested and they have a little bit more of a chance to take out New York. New York just, I don't think, is in the mental space.
I just don't see Decay carrying them through a playoff game like that. And I think the same issues of them choking in overtime against Boston, I think those issues are going to rear their head in the playoffs and they're going to become amplified. Mm-hmm. And that's where New York will take over. But I mean, this is an incredible first round game. Like, we'll be coming off 2 4-0s probably. So this will be a nice, like, wow, look, actual competitive playoff game for once.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be a nice refresher.
Okay. Now, moving into the last game of the first round, Spitfire versus Spark. 3, 2, 1, reveal.
Spitfire 3-1.
I said Spitfire 3-2 only because Spark has the tendency to just kind of go to, like, end up doing 5 maps. Mm-hmm. Like, Spark is the only one where I'm like, there could be a tie. They'll go to a 5th map, or, it'll be like 1-1-1-1-1. But Spitfire is still going to come out on top. They are Spitfire, Spitfire just has more. Spark is going to try and hold the Chinese teams over because Shanghai is going to, like, completely get demolished by Shock. So Spark will put up a fight, but I don't see them winning. That's what it is to me.
I just see the Spark doing worse than we expect. Mm-hmm. I think they got in the playoffs. That's really nice. But playoff Overwatch is different, and teams try a little bit harder. And the London Spitfire are peaking, while the Spark are just got into the playoffs after a decent stage. And you got a peaking team. They're gonna go in there and they're gonna stomp. But I respect the Spark enough to give them a map.
So, now we will be talking about our ideas for the second round based on what these two predicted. So, I will just throw to one. They'll talk about their bracket and who they think will go into the finals, who they think will win the finals. Then we'll go to the other one. There will be, plenty of time allotted, and this will also be an opportunity for them to earn points. So, since I threw to you first at the beginning of the episode, I will throw to Taylor first right now.
Okay, so I said the Shock would win. So the Shock would go against the Gladiators. Obviously, the Shock would completely destroy the Gladiators. I believe Shock's not going to give up. They're going to want to fight the Titans again. They're going to want that rematch. So Shock versus LA, I think it's going to be a 4-0 again. And then Titans versus Spitfire. I can see the Spitfire putting up a fight. Because out of all the, like, Atlantic teams, Spitfire is the only one that is kind of like, I want to beat the Titans. Because they're the reigning champs. So I can see that them wanting to put up a fight, but I still think in the end it's going to be Titans versus Shock. And Shock coming out on top.
For Spitfire and Titans, are you thinking 5 maps, or what are you thinking on that?
Titans, I don't see it going all the way to 5 maps. If I did, I would have said something. I feel like Spitfire might get 1 map, and then Titans will just keep going through the whole rest of it. Like, Spitfire will get the first map, and then Titans will be like, oh yeah, that's right, we're the Titans, and then just steamroll the rest. It'll be fun to watch, because Spitfire will put up the fight. I don't see Gladiators being like that. Shock and Titans are just too big of forces to lose.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Xavier, your bracket.
Our brackets, I'll start with our similar matchup. I have the number 3 seed Titans facing the number 2 Splitfire. Shout out to Typos. This one, I can see the Spitfire taking a map, as you said, but I don't see the Titans dropping this game against the Spitfire.
Yeah.
The Spitfire are peaking, and the Titans have looked vulnerable. But until I see the Titans look vulnerable in a GOATS matchup, I refuse to pick another team.
Yes.
I refuse to pick another team over the Titans, because the Titans, you go DPS versus them, and it's like, the Titans, wow, they look vulnerable. Anytime there's a GOATS mirror, the Titans steamroll. So I just think that's going to be the case this time with the GOATS steamroll. And then where we differ, I have the number 1 seed Shock facing the number 5 seed New York Excelsior. And for this game, I don't have the Shock just going in there and pub stomping the New York Excelsior. Riding.
I sure do love the New York Excelsior.
Yeah, cutting into my time. While the while the Shock are like Thanos right now, the New York Excelsior coming off a victory against LA, I could see them riding high and not putting up a very, very hard fight. But in the end, it will be Shock taking the majority of the maps, with New York winning 1 map. So I think this is kind of where the map streak ends. But it'll still be a dominant performance by the Shock in the maps that they win. And then obviously we both have the Shock versus the Titans in the finals. And
So yeah, you know what? Real quick, let's just do prediction for that. We'll do classic capture point prediction. So go ahead and write who you think is going to win.
Okay.
That. And you don't necessarily have to do your exact map prediction because, seeing how that went last time, it could get crazy.
I gotta go with the steady hand.
If you want to do map predictions, you can.
I think I'm gonna go map predictions. You know what?
I'm not gonna do that because if it doesn't up at the finals, I'm not gonna do that.
3, 2, 1.
Titans 4-3.
I'm gonna say Shock.
I know I said earlier that the Shock will win, but just thinking about how this matchup looks on paper when you look at both of the teams together, the Titans haven't shown me enough weakness for me to believe that the Shock are going to go in there and kill them. The Shock look awesome last playoffs, destroying Philadelphia and Toronto, and they were right there with the Titans, but yet again, when push came to shove, the Titans broke a record on Rialto and destroyed the Shock. And this stage, the Titans have given up maps, but if you look at their stage as a whole, they didn't lose. They didn't lose a game still. They're still undefeated. They're still going there, and anytime you try to run GOATs against them, you get steamrolled. And the Shock are dedicated to GOATs right now. They're the 2 teams, the Shock and the Titans, that run GOATs pretty much no matter what. So I think when it comes to that GOATs v GOATs match, this will still go 7 maps. This will go down to the wire. However, I just see the Titans coming in there, and when things get close, in those pivotal moments, the Titans are going to do some miraculous shit again and pull it out. It's just not the Shock's time yet.
I feel like the Titans are still a super undefeatable team, but the Shock has something to prove. They've come in this year, like this stage, after the 7 maps, and they have broken records. They have they've done so much. They're hungry and they want to beat them. And I just feel like that's going to be what leads them to actually beat the Titans. I think it would be really, really funny in the 7 maps are totally happening kind of thing where they get on Rialto and they beat the record just as one last, we can beat the record. Even if they don't win, if they just beat that record, it would be just we may not win, but we still beat this record. Just because they're on that, I'm going to beat the record kick. Other than that, it's just all up in the air. For all we know, Dragons may come in and just wipe the whole thing out.
I don't know, the Shock, they're excellent, and it's going to be it's not going to be some destruction. However, the Titans just haven't shown me enough weakness for me to bet against them. And I love the Shock. I'm rooting for them. But when it comes down to these official whiteboard lockdown predictions, you got to go with the Titans because the Titans are straight up the best team. And you said the Shock have something to prove. Well, I think the Titans have something to prove because they're going to come into this game being like, all right, we met them last year in the stage finals, and they took us to 7 maps. It was razor close. I think the Titans have that kind of arrogance and desire to just be like, all right, let's prove to them that we can take them out in even fewer maps, or we can have easier team fights. Like, the Titans are a very arrogant, prideful team, and they want that. And the Shock, they're not going to just willingly let them roll over them, but the Titans just have the talent. They have the teamwork. Everything just clicks with them. Same with the Shock, but the Titans haven't lost. They're undefeated. I don't see them losing.
Well, we'll have to
They
wait
are
and
a
see.
living record.
We'll have to
right
wait
now.
and see, because next time you see us, it'll be the end of Stage 2. Stage 2 will have been over.
Yeah.
And will have been one whole stage with Scrapyard. So that'll be interesting. If you want to follow us on Twitter or Instagram without any endgame spoilers, in case you somehow still have not seen it.
I'm sorry. I'm extending this episode just a short second. Listen. Endgame has grossed $2 billion. They're about to beat Avatar for one of the highest grossing film
They on your left, Avatar.
of all
They
time.
on your left.
If you haven't seen Endgame right now, you don't care about spoilers. Like, I'm sorry.
That's fair.
The next episode of the Scrapyard, homie, I'm dropping Endgame spoilers. I don't
Fair
care.
enough.
I'm talking about the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer dropped. Okay,
Yeah.
the trailer literally opens with the end of Endgame, a pivotal moment. I'm sorry if you haven't seen Endgame at this point, you don't care. And so if you can,
What's the handle?
and so if you can,
Master 16.
and so if you complain about spoilers, you're just doing that to be an asshole. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, anyways, if you want to follow us on social media and possibly get spoilers,
You're getting spoilers.
you
goddamn
can do
it.
that at Scrapyard Media on Instagram or Twitter. Our Discord, however, since I will be running it, will be spoiler-free at least for one more week. So, find us down there. However, there may be memes, and I'm definitely going to throw in some, like, all I have left is Spider-Man from Spider-Man, like the Tobey Maguire ones. Seen that? Yeah, I'm gonna throw some of those in there.
We're getting a multiverse.
Shit, it's okay.
This is, but people
We
complain
come
about.
from a land down under. Roll the outro again.
You come from a land down under. Where women go and